It is 22nd April 2025. India has been jolted by the news of terror attack in Kashmir's Pahalgam. 27 tourists have been killed. There is evidence right from the horse's mouth caught on camera where the wife is yelling, screaming, only one among the many victims saying that her husband was identified as a Hindu. The terrorists made sure that he was not a Muslim and shot him point blank. There is news about this all across the internet. The country is angered. Emergency review of the situation is underway by the government, and the government has assured that equal and immediate reaction will follow. But the truth is that the terrorists identified these tourists as Hindus and shot them point blank. There are many casualties in the hospital right now as I record this video. There were children and women amongst the tourists, but the terrorists didn't care to spare them. The pants of the victims were pulled down to ensure, to see and check that they were circumcised or not, to ensure their religious identity before they shot them dead, and then they were shot at point blank. These tourists, these families were touring Kashmir. They were increasing the tourist footfall of Kashmir, something that we have been speaking about ever since the abrogation of Article 370. We have been taking pride in the fact that Kashmir is back to normalcy, that tourists can go to Kashmir. Tourism pages like Curly Tails, LBB have been posting visuals of Kashmir, पहलगाम की वादियों के visuals, जहां पर ये परिवार, ये 27 victims, they were eating, they were feasting, they were enjoying the views of Kashmir, which it is famous for. And right in the middle of those wadis were the echoes of gunshots to their heads. Here's a critical analysis of what happened in Kashmir. If this wasn't a problem of demography in Kashmir, if not all Muslims was the truth in Kashmir, if Pakistan alone was to be blamed, if Pakistan alone was responsible, if religion, what I'm trying to say is that if religion really wasn't the stakeholder of the Kashmiri problem, then Kashmiri Pandits today, after the abrogation of 370, would have been able to go back. But to this day, 5 years after the abrogation of 370, the houses that Kashmiri Pandits fled from, ran away from, in the dark of the night, within deadlines of just hours and even minutes, those houses today are still being occupied by the generation of what kind of Muslims? Those kind of Muslims who were neighbors to these Kashmiri Pandits for decades. In 1990 and even years before that and years after that, these neighbors turned into murderers, into terrorist supporters and sympathizers. Their true faces came out in that decade, a decade that India should never forget, but unfortunately we keep forgetting because we are being told that religion is not the problem of Kashmir. It is purely geographical. It is a religious problem. It exists in not just Kashmir. It exists in Murshidabad. It exists in Nagpur. It exists in Delhi. It exists in Mumbai. It does not matter whether you're a small town, whether you're a capital of the Hindu majority India, or whether you're a financial capital. The problem is the same, and it has to do with demography. Not all Muslims is a farce. How were we expecting that the son of a man named Farooq Abdullah, who was the chief minister of Kashmir in the 90s, who oversaw the genocide and the exodus of Kashmiri Pandits, actively supported terrorists, let it happen quite openly. The truth is all out there for you to see in Kashmir Files, the movie. We are expecting that his son should sit as the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, and we are expecting that peace will bloom and blossom in the valley under the Chief Ministership of Abdullahs, the grandson of Sheikh Abdullah. So long as Abdullahs and Muftis live and continue to reside in Jammu and Kashmir, this valley, this state will not see the dawn of peace, come what may, unless their political involvement, political existence and identity is completely removed and eradicated from Jammu and Kashmir. It will always be understood by the Kashmiri Muslim and by their masters in Pakistan that Kashmir is theirs. And to those who want to piss on Brahmins and their bootlickers, I want to say, सब याद रखा जाएगा, सब कुछ याद रखा जाएगा, क्योंकि किसी के बाप का हिंदुस्तान थोड़ी है. And I want to say this to the fans of such people, to the moviegoers, to the cinema lovers, to the critics of cinema, that the realities on the ground are very different from the real. The realities on the ground, अगर आप और मैं बात करने जाएं और आप भी बोलने जाएं, तो बोलते हुए झिझक तो आपको भी होगी, because it's that bitter. It is not easy to say that there is a particular person and this community is involved. You can't wake up, I didn't wake up, just to be able to say, oh, they are to be blamed. This is a tradition that we have seen. It has been nurtured by the likes of us, our tolerance, which we donate like a charity case. हमारी टॉलरेंस हम इस बात से जताते हैं कि यदि एक बाल पे चाटा हो तो आप दूसरा आगे करें. We are equally to be blamed for not being aware, for not wanting to speak the truth so long as हमारे घर तक नहीं पहुंचे. But don't live in a bubble, because if it is them today, remember one day they also must have thought, until today, I'm sorry to be saying this, but they must have thought that it's okay to go to Kashmir, that Kashmir is safe, हमें कुछ नहीं होगा. They trusted, they were confident in their people, in their country, in their governments. Everything has failed them today. It's as simple as that. Every single thing has failed them today. It doesn't matter इसके बाद क्या होता है, क्योंकि जो होना था वो हो चुका. They are dead. They are not coming back from it. They will live with this for the rest of their lives. They will live with a blink of what has happened in 1947 to our country. They will live with a blink, a 60-second reel of what has happened in 1990s to this country. They will live with a 30-second shots of what has happened with Murshidabad, with West Bengal, with the Hindus in Bangladesh, because they too once thought it's safe. So if you are a Hindu sitting in your house thinking that it doesn't concern you, it's limited to a particular geography, you're living in a bubble, burst it, get yourself out of it. After the abrogation of 370, the approach should have been that it will take some time to bring normalcy back to Kashmir. Why? Because of one simple, bitter, but one truth, that Kashmir's problem, combined with support from Pakistan, is that of demography, is that of communalism, is that of anti-India sentiment that still resides deep in the hearts of many Kashmiri Muslims. क्योंकि if this wasn't the case, अगर ये ना होता, तो आज कश्मीरी पंडित अपने अपने घरों में होते कश्मीर में. But this is the truth. But we didn't want to accept it. We pushed for normalcy. Normalcy is back in Kashmir. हमें फॉरेन मीडिया क्या कह रही है उसका प्रेशर था. हमारे कश्मीर में फॉरेन डेलीगेट्स आना चाहते थे to visit, to see for themselves that normalcy is back in Kashmir. We were under the pressure of Islamo-leftist ecosystem of our country, who kept saying that internet is not there in Kashmir, so everything is not normal. और जिन लोगों का मापदंड ऑफ नॉर्मलसी इज इंटरनेट, हम उनके प्रेशर में आकर normalcy का narrative push करना चाहते थे. We wanted to bring tourism back to Kashmir. Why? Because we told ourselves that we will open our eyes, but we will put a blindfold on it. This is what we did with 370. After 370, we should have taken time to identify each and every resident in Kashmir, to identify who is an Indian citizen, to identify every true Indian citizen, and to give a clear warning to those who supported even the overground workers who provide logistical support to terrorists. The message should have been clear. If you support them in any capacity whatsoever, you will be treated and held to the same standards as that of a Pakistani terrorist. But what did we do? We held elections. We rushed to hold elections so that we could say that democracy is back in Kashmir. Does the ground reality tell you, especially after today, that the Kashmiri local wants democracy in Kashmir? Is that what the ground reality is telling you? What was the need for elections with such urgency? Why was it okay to seat Omar Abdullah, of all people? First, you tried to pull this stunt with the PDP, and you had the support of the people. That was purely political. But this, you have allowed the seating of the son. Once again, I mention the son of a former chief minister who had a direct involvement in the exodus and genocide of Kashmiri Pandits, the grandson of Sheikh Abdullah, who is a proponent of Pakistan, a promoter of Pakistan. What's worse is that we as tourists, as Indian tourists heading to Kashmir, we are the primary reason for Kashmir's economy, for the boosting of Kashmir's economy, for the increased footfall of tourists in Kashmir. And this is what we have gotten and are getting in return. All because we want to show faces, people, good photographs, nicely edited videos of the hills of the Wadis. And we want to say to the tourists to come to Kashmir. We want to prove the point so desperately that normalcy is back in Kashmir, that we are forcing ourselves and taking our people along with it to believe that the ground reality is simple, everything is okay, when it's not. No amount of words is going to express what the country is feeling today and what we are going through as a community, as Hindus in our own country. But my heart goes out to the victims, to the families, to the survivors, to the deceased. And I hope that after this, our society, our country will reflect, will hold itself responsible, and will become an active stakeholder in ensuring that India becomes, maintains itself, and remains a sovereign country and owns up its identity of truly being a Hindu majority without being made to or being or feeling guilty about it.